May it please the court. My name is Susan Jarvis, appearing on behalf of the Crown, and my learned counsel appears for the defense. I am sure that we have all heard the saying, the devil finds work for idle hands to do. Indeed, on the night of 20th August 2019, the devil did find work for the idle hands of Wayne Edwards, Lee Summers, and Philip Saunders to do. And it is not the kind of work which society approves of. Their hands and hard work have resulted in both Mr. Lee Summers and Mr. Wayne Edwards being charged with burglary, contrary to Section 9, subsection 1b of the Theft Act, while Mr. Philip Saunders has been charged with handling stolen goods, contrary to Section 22, subsection 1 of the Theft Act. Interestingly, Mr. Lee Summers has pled guilty to the charge of burglary, and during the trial, you will see how significant his admission of guilt is for the charges brought against the other defendants. Members of the jury, picture, if you can, how things unfolded on the night of 20th August 2019. The time is just about 9 p.m. The address is 15 Bull Road. Mr. Albert Lawson and his family are away from their home, and we have 3 young men who decided to use their idle hands to do some work. Together, they went along with the plan hatched by the mastermind, Mr. Wayne Edwards, to enter a home in which they were not invited and to steal and handle items which did not belong to them, namely a TV, DVD recorder, a hi-fi, and some jewelry. To establish our case, the Crown will call several witnesses, 2 of whom are neighbors of Mr. Lawson. One of them will testify that on the night in question, she was alerted by noise which sounded like a window being smashed, and upon investigation, she witnessed 3 young men on Mr. Lawson's property. One was positioned by the gates, while the other 2 entered the house. Shortly after, they left said property with one of the young men carrying a bag. Another witness, also a neighbor, has a similar testimony. He also saw the 3 young men on the premises of 15 Bull Road on the night in question. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, a fact which is equally significant is that these 2 eyewitnesses made a positive identification of Mr. Edwards as one of the boys they saw burgling Mr. Lawson's house. You will also hear from P.C. Goddard, who was directed by information received to 15 Bull Road. He will recount encountering 2 young men in the persons of Lee Summers and Wayne Edwards a mere 200 yards from 15 Bull Road. Mr. Summers was in possession of the bag of reported stolen items. P.C. Bestwood will testify that on 9:30 p.m. on the same night, she encountered Mr. Philip Saunders driving along Belham Road without illuminated backlights. She later discovered, shortly thereafter, a DVD under a rubber matting in the boot of his car. Members of the jury, it is this same DVD that Mr. Lawson later as identified as being the DVD that was taken from his home. In closing, members of the jury, the defense will argue that Mr. Edwards is not guilty of the offense charged because he did not have the items on him, and that the real culprit has pled guilty to the charge. Regarding Mr. Saunders, they will advance the argument that he had a legitimate excuse for having the DVD. He bought it. Yes, members of the jury, he bought it a mere half an hour after it was stolen. Those weak arguments notwithstanding, the Crown will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Edwards trespassed on private property and burgled the property, and that Mr. Saunders benefited from that burglary and obtained one of those items, knowing full well that the item was stolen. With permission of the court, I would like to call my first witness.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so